came here in 1986 to run it for myself in October. I signed the papers and I was owner of the Red Barn Incorporated. People come in here for the experience, more so than I think anything else. And they love the fact that somebody's actually taking the time to listen. Find that balance between doing what you love that isn't really work, that might pay the bills, and more importantly, can resonate with people and actually to some extent help people. That's pretty rewarding. Without my customers, I would be doing what I don't love, guaranteed.
April 14th.
Ready? Good evening. Welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Waterville City Council. If anybody would like an agenda, they're in the plastic sleeve on the back wall next to the map. Before we get started, I will ask Chairman Soul to please stand and lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First up is community notes. Community notes is a time where if anybody has something that you'd like to say or speak about with the City Council that is not already scheduled to be spoken about tonight, now would be the time to do it. We just ask that you come to the podium and tell us who you are.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Bergeron. I own a restaurant across the street, Italia, and there's a park behind us, Haynes Park, which is not necessarily maintained an awful lot by the city, which is unfortunate, but it does get a bit overgrown and unruly. And I would like to propose that some of us who have restaurants take the care of that over and have the ability to have food served in the park during the summer months. So I know there would have to be some process to get this ball rolling, and this was what I was told to do, is bring it here.
Yes. Because I know I've talked to you and Councilor Tate has talked to you, and then we went to Mike. So the next step really would be,
I think an ordinance, wouldn't it? Be an would we need to do that in order to make that,
Well,
Mike, you know? Yeah.
At one time, maybe
Yeah.
a few years back, the council named the park
Right.
after someone and for a specific purpose. But Jennifer's right, it really hasn't been maintained and used very well. So I think it's a good time to bring this up, especially with all the other changes going on. In order to change that little park in the concourse to a place where they can serve food, it's going to take a fair amount of work. I think some trees, the fruit trees in there would have to be removed, and you certainly would have to have a level surface. So that would have to definitely be changed. So I think what we would like is sometime come up with, an explanation for the council, of course for you too, of what we see will work, and then the council can decide, is that the highest and best use, or do you want something else?
or I mean, I think what Jennifer might be suggesting is that because I think there's like maybe, what is it, 3 restaurants essentially that have interest in
I don't know. I personally haven't talked to the other restaurants, but I've heard that they might have some interest from a couple of others. There are only really 3 of us that are close enough, I think,
Right.
for it to make sense. And I would think that we would be, I would personally hire an arborist to maybe trim the trees back. I don't know that they need to go. I don't know where the city's going with that whole parking lot, so I'm not sure how permanent that park is going to be back there anyway.
Right, it's a good
So, maybe just putting down some, like, I think any of us who are interested could put down some crushed stone or do something to get seating out there without that being something that's the responsibility of the city, although maybe with the approval of the city. That you have to say, yes, we like what you're going to do there, but that the city doesn't have to actually do any of that. I don't know how that works. Like,
would this be maybe something our Parks and Rec Committee could handle?
Yeah, I think that what we'll do is form a working group with Parks and Rec and include you also, and talk to the other two restaurants, and then get that plan in place and bring it forward for another discussion.
Can we just say we'll do that in the next few weeks, at least that conversation will get started, so then, I assume it's early enough in the season that even if it takes a few months, there's still plenty of time to.
Yeah.
What we should do, make sure we do, is give people plenty of opportunity to hear about it in the comment, so it's not a surprise.
Sure.
Great.
Okay.
We will follow up with you.
Thank you.
In the very near future. Thank you, Jennifer. Anybody else for community notes?
Good evening. I'm Dan Libby. I'm a 12-year resident and third time coming before the Waterville City Council. And for the third time, I'm here to speak in opposition of the proposed plastic bag ordinance. I want to be clear that I am not anti-environment. I am pro-civil liberties. 2 weeks ago, the best thing that could happen for me did when members of the Sustained Mid-Maine Coalition decided to respond to me here. When that happens, it gives me a plethora of material to come back here with to make my points. So let's get going point by point. One, the SMMC member stated that he was shocked and appalled to be called out in a previous meeting by somebody that had never met with him or chatted with him ever. Ironically enough, that's how I felt when I heard about the group's effort to take my liberties away from me. Number two, the SMMC member said that he wanted to thank me for mentioning their website. Well, you are welcome, because I believe knowledge is power, and I am confident when people read your nonsense on your website, they will see what that group's true motives are. Number three, the SMMC member stated that I asked who the members were. That was rhetorical. I identified the website, the group, and some members. Four, the SMMC member argued that the ordinance does not sound like big government. Well, what else could the ordinance be when it takes my right away to make decisions for myself? The member said it wasn't a mandate. Well, what do you think an ordinance does? A ban does not give me more liberties. Five, the member stated that 12 towns have fixed the problem. Oh, really? How many ducks have you saved? How many hours of community pickup has it prevented? How many landfills have been deprived of those plastic bags? And how many dolphins have not suffocated? How on earth can you say you have fixed the problem? What arrogance. Six, we are your neighbors, the member said multiple times. When he identified me, he didn't even call me by my name. Clearly, you are no Mr. Rogers or State Farm, that's for sure. You can never borrow my tools, I would never get them back. And the SMMC number 7 said that he didn't question my ability to make decisions. However, the member went on to say that the plastic bag education programs have failed miserably. So now the SMMC will tell us what we cannot do and can do. If the true mission of the SMMC is to motivate people, I suggest that you continue to educate people, inspire them, and empower them. Don't mandate them. And the contradictions are incredible, and I wonder if this group could be any more self-righteous. Oh, and then a lawyer gets up who couldn't look me in the eye, spoke to counter my points. He clearly wasn't listening to what I had to say. His counterpoints had nothing to do with what I said. I would ask before he attempt to impugn my integrity, he worry about his own. Being suspended from practicing law is no small thing. And in November 2017, when this terrible idea was proposed before the Waterville City Council, the last question asked and was never answered was, who would have thought this would be so controversial? Since nobody answered it then, I consider it an open question, and I will answer it now. I say anybody that is not a lemming, anybody that believes in civil liberties, anybody that can think for themselves, anybody that can see what this ordinance really is, and anybody that doesn't want to be told what to do and how to do it. Anybody that doesn't want to be oppressed at any level. Heck, the entire state of New Hampshire, just look at their license plate.
Mr. Libby.
All right, I could go on all night, but the argument being made that we should get in line and do what the other towns have done and put this ordinance into place because everybody is doing it. A word of caution, if I may. Sometimes when you follow the masses, the M is silent. Thank you.
Is there anybody else for community notes?
Mayor, I would just mention that we are accepting letters of interest for the Ward 5 City Council seat. Anyone interested should submit letters of interest to my office, and the deadline is next Thursday at 5 p.m.
Thank you. And if they had any questions, or if they can always call you or email you as well. Yeah. Okay, we will move on to the disclosure of conflict of interest. Is there anybody on the City Council who feels they have a conflict of interest in any of the votes they will take tonight? No, we will move on to the approval of the consent agenda. Could I get a motion for the approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? All right, we are on to unfinished business. And this unfinished business, the first item for business is the reconsideration of the mayor's veto of Resolution 42, 2018. Patty, would you like to do the explanation of this? Or would you like me to?
I could try, I'm not sure which approach you prefer.
So the way that we've done it in the past is Patty will call for a reconsideration of the mayor's veto. A yes vote will be to override the veto and reopen discussion for the resolution 42, 2018. A no vote would be to sustain the veto, and that part of the business would be closed for tonight's agenda.
Very well.
Okay.
So, do we have a motion to override or to reconsider? To override the mayor's veto?
We need a motion to have.
Motion made.
Second.
Okay, so all those in,
Hey, have a comment?
I don't believe this is a debatable motion.
It's not debating.
You have a question?
No, I have a comment.
No, I don't think there's public comment on that.
What? To reconsider?
To reconsider?
We're gonna decide whether it comes back on the floor or not.
Right.
Then it could be
Basically.
discussed.
Then it could be discussed.
So a yes vote,
A yes vote
put
is
it
to,
back on the floor to be discussed further, and a no vote will kill the item in effect.
right.
Correct.
Okay, so all those who are yes? No? Okay.
So it fails and it doesn't come back to the floor.
We will move on under unfinished business to ordinance 39, 2018.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
An ordinance providing for amendment to zoning.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Is there discussion? Comments? Okay, can I get a roll call?
Counselor Sol,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Lessing,
Yes.
Counselor Mayhew,
Yes.
Counselor Dupont,
Yes.
the vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
Next is order 46, 2018.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
An order providing for approval of forfeiture.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Is there discussion? Comments? I'll take a roll call.
Counselor Sol,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Lessing,
Yes.
Counselor Mayhew,
Yes.
Counselor Dupont,
Yes.
the vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
Next, order 47, 2018.
Move to read by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
An order providing for authorization to apply for funds for 2018 airport projects.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Take a roll call.
Counselor Sol,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Lessing,
Yes.
Counselor Mayhew,
Yes.
Counselor Dupont,
Yes.
vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
And last item under unfinished business is order 48, 2018.
Move to read by title only.
And second.
All in favor?
An order providing for donation of city property for airport use.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Is there discussion? Comment? I'll take a roll call.
Counselor Sol,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Lessing,
Yes.
Counselor Mayhew,
Yes.
Counselor Dupont,
Yes.
vote is 5 in favor and 0 opposed.
Moving on to new business, resolution 50, 2018.
A resolution providing for canvassing of votes and determination of the result of the special municipal election held on March 13, 2018. Be it resolved by the Waterville City Council acting as municipal officers as follows, that the City Council acting as the canvassing board for the canvassing of the votes and the determination of the result of the special municipal election held on Tuesday, March 13, 2018, received and examined the returns as follows. Yes votes 183, no 58, for a total of 241.
Move to adopt.
Is there a discussion? All in favor?
Mayor, if I may, I just want to recognize the folks that worked in the polls that day. We had to actually plow them out of the parking lot to leave that night. Roland and Joanne Halley stayed until the end. Herb, Oliver, and myself and my staff at City Hall. So it was a skeleton crew, and they did yeoman's work. So It was a long day. The last voter was Mike at 5:30.
Thank you.
I was just checking to make sure they were still there.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you, Patty. Next, under new business, resolution 51, 2018.
A resolution providing for a bid award for traffic paint. Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the city be hereby authorized to award a bid in the amount of $21,175.00 to the Sherwin-Williams Paint Company of Waterville, Maine.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Some discussion.
I'd like to just point out that that's the lowest bid.
Excellent. Thank you.
And second point, it's a localized business, which is even better.
And third point, they're awesome.
And they keep your colors on file.
They do, yeah.
And,
We use them at the museum.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Next, resolution 52, 2018.
A resolution providing for a bid award for dual axle dump truck with accessory equipment. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the city be hereby authorized to award a bid of $153,997.00 to Freightliner of Maine, Bangor, Maine, for the purchase of a dual axle dump truck with accessory equipment.
move to adopt.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I'd like to point out that that's the lowest bid.
Excellent. All in favor?
And I'd also like to point out how important this new truck is, because over the last 2 weeks, I think some of you know, we've had 2 and 3 trucks down at certain times, even during the storm. Matter of fact, we had to hire out some trucks to help plowing. And so we've been in a really serious maintenance problem with 2, 3 different trucks. So this is extremely important.
If I could point out, if you look up the word adversity, I think you find Mark's picture
Yeah.
in the dictionary now. You've had a rough year,
Right.
so.
Next is resolution 53, 2018.
A resolution providing for a bid award pavement rehabilitation contract. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Waterville, acting as municipal officers as follows, that the city hereby agrees to accept a contract for a pavement upgrade for the following road, County Road. It is recommended that a bid in the amount of $147,295.90 be accepted from B&B Paving Incorporated of Herman, Maine, and that a contingency allowance be added in the amount of $14,729.00. Project total cost therefore will be $162,024.90.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Steve, would you like to point anything out?
It's the
Yeah, it's the lowest bid.
Any discussion on this? All in favor? And last is order 54, 2018.
Move to read by title only.
All in favor?
An order providing for approval of forfeiture.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Mike, you're up.
I'm good.
Motion to adjourn?